Hello everybody, welcome to another edition of In Pit Lane, coming to you from the studios of RMIT Student Television here in the heart of Grand Prix City, Melbourne. Joining us a little bit later on in the program, we're going to be talking improved production racing, a category that is really just, over the past few years, if you're looking for the really big fields in local motorsport at the Victorian State level and right around the country, we know about the Hyundai Excels, but also improved production. It never disappoints. There's always big fields. We're going to try and find out why and talk more about the category with one of its top competitors, Danny Timewell, a little bit later on in the program. Also, we've got live music coming up. Brian Peters and Michael Prizeman will be joining us as well. Doc, good to see you again this week. We're actually sitting here. We're not walking in this week, thank God.
It's brilliant to see you. We didn't break a leg, fortunately, last week, so we can back. We're not coming to you from a hospital right now. But yeah, it's going to be a Bathurst 12 hours on the weekend. It was absolutely brilliant. We'll tell you more about that later.
Well, we're hoping that it was absolutely brilliant because the magic of television, yes, it was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, as I said, more later.
Let's hope. Let's find out what has been happening over the weekend, including the Bathurst 12 hours, as we check out this week's edition of the In Pit Lane Motorsport News. A dominant performance from Mercedes-AMG locking out the podium at last weekend's Bathurst 12-hour race. The team of Jules Gounon, Lucas Stoltz, Martin Conrad and expat Australian businessman Kenny Habul crossed the line just over 8 seconds clear of the Hong Kong-based Craft Bamboo team, with Triple Eight Racing led by Shane van Gisbergen and Brock Feeney in third place. After setting the pace in qualifying, the challenge from the Audis fell away quickly due to mechanical gremlins, accidents and a number of pit lane penalties. Only 11 cars were classified as finishers in the race, which will thankfully return to the more traditional and much warmer February date in 2023. Well, work is continuing around the clock to have Heathcote Park ready for this weekend's huge Top Fuel Championships round, the Summer Nat Slam. Despite wet weather, track organisers are confident that everything will be in place for what's scheduled to be the biggest drag racing event held in Victoria for several years. Good news for organisers is that Jim Reed Racing are confident of being on the track this weekend, despite the recent start line engine backfire that left several crew with minor injuries. After not being able to run the finals in Sydney, Heathcote fans will get a bonus with the second round qualifying run of Shane Olive and Peter Zabiris also serving as the Sydney final. Well, the meeting will have added significance after the death of long-time Heathcote Park volunteer Dooley, who passed away late last week. A much-loved local character, Dooley, whose real name was Philip Turra, was a passionate supporter of the track and local drag racing. Dooley was hoping to live long enough to see the top fuelers return to the venue. Remembered by most as the official gatekeeper at the track, social media has been flooded with heartfelt tributes from the local drag racing community. To the family and many friends of Dooley and all at Heathcote Park, we here at In Pit Lane send our most sincere condolences. In US drag racing, Brittany Force finished off a dominant weekend that included track records and a number one qualifier spot with an impressive top fuel victory on Sunday at Virginia Motorsports Park. Force defeated four-time defending world champion Steve Torrens in the final. It was a great weekend for the Force family, with John Force Racing driver Robert Height beating Matt Hagan in the final of Funny Car for a Force Racing clean sweep. In Pro Stock Motorcycle, defending world champion Matt Smith denied Steve Johnson his third straight win to beat the points leader on a hole shot. It was the first victory of the year for Smith and his first career victory riding a Suzuki. And an historic run in top fuel bike as Larry McBride set a new top-end speed record for the class. McBride made the record-breaking pass at 5.681 seconds at 268.38 miles per hour. That's just over 431 kilometres per hour, the fastest motorcycle run in drag racing history. Disappointment for Scott McLaughlin after a spin under caution while leading last weekend's Indianapolis Grand Prix. The gamble by McLaughlin to stay out on slicks failed to pay off after the New Zealand driver spun not once but twice. The race was won by Colton Herter, who took out his first victory of the year over Simon Pagenaud, who came through the field after starting 20th on the grid. Pole sitter Australia's Will Power was third and has now moved into the championship lead as the teams get ready for tonight's first practice session for this month's Indianapolis 500. Toyota driver Kurt Busch passed Kyle Larson with 8 laps remaining and hung on to take the win in the latest round of the NASCAR Cup Series at Kansas. Busch led a race-high 116 laps and made the winning pass on Larson as the pair battled side by side for a lap before Larson brushed the wall. Larson said after the race that there had been no contact between the pair. It was a good weekend for the Busch family, with Kurt's brother Kyle finishing in third place. Jack Miller likes Le Mans. A former French Grand Prix winner at the famous track, Miller was second in last weekend's French MotoGP. But the race winner, Enya Bastianini, still looks set to be the man who will replace Miller on the factory Ducati in next year's championship. The man they call the Beast took the win after a crash by Miller's teammate, Francesco Bagnaia, while dicing for the lead. Third place went to Alexei Espargaro, who continued his recent run of good form. Once again, though, it was a very tough weekend for Remy Gardner. Gardner crashed out early after claiming that he was squeezed out by fellow rookie Fabio Di Gianantonio. Rumours from the Le Mans paddock say that Miller may lose his factory Ducati ride to Bastianini next year and that he may end up alongside Gardner at Tech 3 Racing. And as many of his supercar compatriots were at Mount Panorama, Tim Slade warmed up for this weekend's Winton Supercar round by setting a new outright lap record at Phillip Island. Competing at the Victorian State Championships in the MG and invited British sports car class, Slade drove the new Brabham BT62 to a new outright lap record of 1 minute 24.060 seconds to break the previous record set by Simon Wills back in 2000 in a Formula Holden. Melbourne driver Hugh Barter has strengthened his lead in the French Formula 4 Championship after 2 strong wins at Magny-Cours last weekend. Barter won races 1 and 3 after setting the fastest time in qualifying and leaves the round leading the series by a healthy 67 points over Japanese driver Sata Areo. And an embarrassing day out for current Ferrari star Charles Leclerc at the Monaco Historic last weekend. Leclerc was driving the ex-Niki Lauda Ferrari 312B3 when he spun into the barrier, causing thankfully only minor damage to the car, which is valued at over $1.7 million. Ferrari later said the car had suffered a brake system failure. The Monaco local will be hoping his hometown luck changes when the annual Grand Prix takes place at the end of the month. And that, my friends, is the In Pit Lane news for the week commencing Monday, May the 16th, 2022. We'll have more news next week. Yes, you're watching In Pit Lane here on Channel 31 and the In Pit Lane YouTube channel and wherever fine jewellery is sold. We'll be back in just a moment, and after the break we're going to be joined by our special guest, improved production racer Danny Timewell. Don't go away, we'll be right back. Okay, we're on the break now, so let's bring Danny in. We'll get him into position and frame him up and do all the stuff that we need to do. There, here he comes. Thought he'd run away. I thought, yeah, surely we've locked the door again. Surely we've learned about that before.
Oh, we've locked ourselves out.
You don't leave an unlocked door when there's a guest around. There we are. So we'll just get you while Danny's getting centred up and getting his shots ready. I'll let you know once again and say thank you, a huge thank you to our sponsor, Online Invent. As I've said before, if you're looking for getting involved in online marketing, in setting up a website, in have a social media campaign on Facebook, on Twitter, and all of the social media, these are the people to talk to. I mean, they understand that. Roy sent me a whole bunch of figures the other day about
good.
Yeah, about sort of what had gone up where and why it had gone up and what topics had trended and all that. He just
So who was going to win the election?
There are. We're all losing. We're all losing.
Good point.
Unless you're a millionaire, we're all losing.
But no, getting back to Roy.
Yeah, so it was fascinating because he had all the figures. I mean, all the figures are there, but I don't know what they mean. But he sort of explained them to me and sort of said, this is in the email said this is the areas that you should need to improve in, and here's where you should be posting things to 2 platforms instead of 1. It's much more complicated than you think. So if you want to do a media campaign, particularly if you're a car club or a category. Anybody who wants to promote a product, a race team, if you want to promote yourself, you want to promote your sponsors, you want to get more people into your club or something, social media is fantastic, but you really do need to understand how it works and what it is that you need to get the best out of it, so you're not wasting your money.
And Roy, as you said, it can be complicated, it can be a little bit daunting sometimes, but Roy breaks it all down there, and he'll execute it for you as well, though, too. He does a fantastic job, and then gives you the feedback and tells you how well it's going, and as you said, what you need to work on. And
as we said before, he's very much a motorsport,
joins us every Thursday night.
Joins us regularly online for Full Course Yellow every Thursday night on the YouTube channel and here on Facebook. So so make sure you join. You join with Online Invent, and once again we say thank you to Roy and Online Invent for their support of In Pit Lane. It got us back on air this year, and hopefully it will get us back for another season coming up. Roy's already put his hand up and said that he will support us for a second season. Should all the runes sort of align?
I was going to say, all the planets align, and all these beautiful volunteers that make us look ugly align.
You can tell I saw Doctor Strange on the weekend. there. And incidentally, if you haven't seen Doctor Strange, I had a ball. I thought it was fabulous.
Mr. Cumberbatch is good
stuff?
Yeah,
I thought it was fabulous fun.
There you go, good stuff.
Okay, so Pete, appearing through the gloom, I can see Pete over there. Are we ready to head back and do this television show?
5 rotten tomatoes to the Doctor Strange.
Welcome back to In Pit Lane. Well, our guest tonight is Danny Timewell, and he's one of the many competitors in the world of improved production racing. We've also caught up with him on occasions out of the Victorian State Racing Championship in sports sedans as well. We're going to be talking about that tonight because improved production is just one of those categories that just seems to be almost sort of recession-proof. It's one of those, you go along and there's always, no matter what happens in any other category, there's always a big field in improved production. To find out why it is so popular and perhaps even how you can get involved, please welcome to the program Danny Timewell. Danny, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Now let's talk about, first of all, your car and improved production. Now this is a new car because people, if they watched from Sydney Motorsport Park, wasn't it, that you had a few problems last year?
That's right. Yeah, we went up there in November as a support category for supercars, and unfortunately on Sunday morning had a bit of an incident where a car had come across the track in front of me and left nowhere to go, and we T-boned him pretty bad. So poor Dan Ridley's car's a bit second-hand, and we needed to start again with a fresh one.
So tell us about the car. What is it? What have you actually? It's a Commodore, but it looks like a Commodore. I suppose the thing about improved production is it's not as it's more advanced than a stock standard car, but it's not as wild and crazy as a sports sedan.
Yeah, it's an interesting category because I spent my first couple of years in car racing in sports sedans because I didn't know any better. I was new to the sport and watched a lot of what improved production was going on, and they can be almost a supercar. The rules are very strict and quite strange when you're an outsider coming in to look at it. They're very, very specific, but at the same time they're very free. So you can have supercar brakes on your car, providing your engine block is of the original family that came out of that engine. You can work that engine to make as much horsepower as you want. You can run a Hollinger gearbox, providing it's a H pattern. So, but then all the panels on the car, the glass, for instance, the VF Commodore has electric windows, so the electric windows must go up and down.
Oh,
so it's much more like the original sort of thing that we saw in the 70s with cars like Norm Beach's Monaro and Alan Moffat's Mustang. There, so it's not like sort of like the dumping a big Chev, a 6-litre Chev into the back of a Volkswagen or something like that. No,
exactly. Yeah, you've got to keep the car looking pretty much how they come. You are allowed a rear wing, but you are very limited in the size and the positioning of the wing. And otherwise the car has to look like pretty much a standard road-going car.
The tyres are interesting too because you're not running on sort of regular racing slicks, are you?
No, and that's been a big learning curve for me. The class is sponsored by Yokohama, so everybody runs on the Yokohama AO50s. So again, my first couple of years in car racing on slicks, and when it got wet, we put wets on. Whereas now in improved production category, you have the one tyre for wet or dry, and it's learning how to drive the car on those tyres, but how to make them live throughout the course of the race and the weekend as well.
Yeah, controlled tyres always difficult, but it evens up the field though, doesn't it?
It certainly does.
Speaking of wets, you got a couple of decades under your belt before you actually started in improved sports sedans and improved production. What were you doing, and how did you switch? What attracted you?
Well, yeah, I was ski racing, so I grew up as a keen water skier and built boats for many years professionally. And then, we raced for a long period of time, and we'd done a lot of racing, and it was sort of, it was time. It was just time to say, my best mate, Peter Strike, he owned the boat that I was lucky enough to drive for the last 10 years. We decided that, we've done everything we can. So it's time to...
You've had a fulfilling life on the water, and it was time to go into the hard stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, when we sold the boat, I thought that was just the end of it, and I'd just, go off in the sunset, do a bit of social water skiing or whatever, but the need for speed was still there, and I had to do something, so we started the journey, thought, well, let's build a race car.
What attracted you to, it was obviously the sports sedans to start off with?
Well, initially, when I was looking at the different categories I could race in, I live close to the Sandown track, so I wanted to race in something that raced at Sandown for starters, but jumped on Facebook, had a look around on Facebook. The Sports Sedan Club were pretty active at the time. They had a category within Sports Sedan called floor pan, where you could have a car that was basically, as long as it had the original floor pan in it and it was unmodified, you could do what you want, a lot of freedom. So, put a big wing on it, put a V8 supercar bar on it, as much horsepower as you want. Mm-hmm. So, and that was really attractive to me. And, being a ski racer, our boats were always pretty wild and flary. So I thought, sports sedans was a natural fit for me initially. Built a VF Commodore and thought we'd try a hand in that for the first couple of years anyway.
So your new car, the rebuilt, the brand new Commodore that you're running at the moment, what are the details of that? What's it powered by, and what was it originally?
Yeah, so it's a VF SS Commodore. So it came out with a 6-litre motor. So it's got the LS2 engine in it as a base engine, I suppose, but highly modified. So it makes probably just north of 600 horsepower. That's coupled up to a Hollinger RD6 gearbox. So again, it's got to be a H pattern, not a sequential like you'd see in all the supercars, although there is talk that may change in the next couple of years.
A bit of an upgrade mightn't hurt.
Yeah, but we'll wait and see.
Learning curve for everybody too.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the H pattern because there are some advantages in it, believe it or not, opposed to a sequential, particularly with downshifting. Mm-hmm. We've got some big brakes on the car, and you sort of, that's where you start, and then you look around the pits, and we're always learning, and we're looking at other guys and listening to what other people's opinions are, and just sort of start tweaking the car and upgrading suspensions, and it's never ending.
At the recent state round, I mean, we saw your numbers were down in a number of categories, but as I said, for improved production, it was once again probably the biggest category on the weekend down at Phillip Island. Why do you think that is? I mean, why do you think that it has been almost recession-proof? Where when lots of other categories struggle for numbers, you guys just keep filling up grids.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I haven't been around improved production enough to give you a really qualified answer on that, but it was when I was racing sports sedans, I was always watching the improved production, and it looked like a really exciting class, a lot of close racing and different sorts of cars. You go to Sandown where it was traditionally a horsepower track, so you'd see some of the big V8 Commodores with Luke Gretsch combo and so forth sort of way out in front. Then you go to Winton and there's some Nissan Silvias and BMWs that are up the front, and then you go to Phillip Island and it's a combination of both. So it just looked like a really interesting category, and there's so many cars in it. It's a full field, and it's
so many strengths and weaknesses that all the cars can have too, I suppose, with the different tracks.
I still say probably one of the best races I've ever seen in my life many years ago. Leanne Tander, Ben Schutz and Ray Hisler. No, it was Tony Floriani, I think, racing improved production at a Isle of Magic meeting. It was just the best race I've seen anywhere. It was just... The Commodore would fly past on the straight, the Mazdas would catch up again and go further. It was just a brilliant race from start to finish.
Yeah, and you see that now at every track. All cars have got their different strengths and weaknesses at different parts of the track, and it is really exciting racing.
Speaking of strengths and weaknesses, we were talking earlier before we come on the show about the T-bone that you had up there at Sydney and the unfortunate circumstances you're in, but... one big strength right behind you was your mechanic Cole. We were having a chat as well though too. So you've cut the car in half. One of the trophies is in your place, and one's at his place. It's only a rumour going around anyway. Must have been a hard cutting in half, but get some satisfaction out of it. And secondly, the turnaround and getting another car built so quickly. How did you do that?
It was a challenge. So cutting the car in half, was just something with that side of the car was perfect.
Actually, hold that for a second because we're getting to the wind-up. We're going to take a break right now, but we'll pick that up again when we come back. You're watching In Pit Lane here on Channel 31. We'll be back with more with Danny Timewell right after this break. Okay, we were getting the wind up there.
Sorry,
time,
so I thought I had 2 minutes still.
Get there. Now let's get Michael and Brianne in the into position for our bonus for our song. So once again on Facebook we've got Michael Prizeman and Brianne Peters performing for us tonight. This is one of Michael's. We've got sort of two for the price of one tonight. We've got Michael's song now, and then Brianne sort of will take us out at the end of the program.
They've agreed to play with each other though.
They have agreed to play in the nicest possible way. I still go, now. We'll also let you know Brianne's got a gig, and you got a gig this weekend, isn't it? On Saturday. Whereabouts is that?
At the Nightcat.
The Nightcat. The Nightcat's in Fitzroy?
I think so.
Yeah, I've been there.
You think so? I think you better find out.
Been there, quaint little place. Have a nice sip on a nice a softy drink and enjoy Brianne.
Well, there you go. So that's coming up.
Great couches.
This Saturday. So that's one of the bonuses if you're looking for something to do on Saturday, some bit of nice bit of relaxation, go out and enjoy yourself. That's coming up this weekend, and there we can see that Phil has brought up the graphic there with some of the details, and there are both Michael and Brianne are on Spotify and iTunes and YouTube, all sorts of places, so search them out. But right now they're going to play a song for us, a bonus song for all of you watching on the In Pit Lane YouTube channel and on the Facebook page. Right now this is Brianne Peters and Michael Prizeman and 6 in the Morning.
Six o'clock in the morning, and I'm the only one dawning. Tired as I might be, gonna see what I can see and watch you rise. Take a look at your eyes. In the morning.
6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm the only one dawning. And tired as I might be, I'm gonna see what I can't see. Watch you rise. Take a look at your eyes. In the morning, I'll see the sun, the day begun for birds and all to wake. A brand new day, some new mown hay, lie on meadows, gold and gray. And catch the sun and watch it run like shadows of the past, and see their eyes, oh, a thousand skies coming forth to greet the day. 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm the only one dawning. And tired as I might be, I'm gonna see what I can see and watch you rise. Take a look at your eyes. In the morning, in the morning, yeah, yeah. In the morning.
That was Brianne Peters and Michael Prizeman and 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm very mellow now.
Oh,
I'm just
chill.
I'm just so chill. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to In Pit Lane on Channel 31 and the In Pit Lane YouTube channel. Just a reminder, Thursday nights live, we have Full Course Yellow. It's a get-together where Doc and myself, Pete and a few others, we just come together for a bit of a chat about what's happening in the world of local and international motorsport, bit of a discussion session. We would love you to be a part of it. We've got a lot of regulars who tune in every week and join us in conversation, but we'd love you to be a part of that too. If you're interested in having a bit of a chat with a few friends about the world of motor racing, all forms of motorsport, Full Course Yellow, 9 o'clock on the In Pit Lane YouTube channel and Facebook page every Thursday. Our guest tonight right here in the studio, of course, is Danny Timewell. And Danny, we were talking about just before the break about the remains of the old car, what you did with it. Continue on.
Yeah, so we basically cut the car in half from front to back and mounted the good half that was left of the car up on the wall in our workshop, just as a bit of a tribute or a reminder, or I'm not really sure why we put it up there, but it was Colin's idea actually. So yeah, it's up there as a bit of a trophy and a reminder.
And speaking of Colin, he's done a lot of work behind the scenes. Yeah, I have a few drinks, I think, behind the bar, I suppose, as well, too, because conceptually, right at the start of your career, and when you switched from the water to the H2O to the track, he was right behind you and then helped you steer it in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started building a car in a friend's factory where Colin was actually working at the time, and I could look at him, shaking his head at times and say, "Oh no, what's he doing now?" So he'd come over and give me a bit of a pointer, and it wasn't long before he pretty well took over, and then I became his lackey. So he'd tell me what direction we were going in and what needed to be done, and I'd just go off and do it that way. So I couldn't have done it without his help, and obviously we've got some really good sponsors on board as well, which really helped with the funding of it.
Now, you mentioned that you got your start in sports and you moved into improved production, but a little birdie told me that we might see you again at some stage in sports sedans. What's happening there?
Yeah, look, I'd really love to go back to sports sedans. Obviously not with this car. This car will be an improved production car forever, I'd assume. But yeah, the rumours are that there's a couple of new sports sedans being built. There's
always rumours about new sports.
And
there was always some of them squirreled away anyway too.
There is, and I mean, there's a lot of sports sedans sitting in sheds, but it's getting access to them. But I do know of a good one that will be coming on the market in the near future, I hope. So I'll probably keep my ear to the ground and see if that one pops up. And
might it be another Holden perchance?
I would hope so. I'm pretty loyal, brand loyal.
Perhaps
with my
a two-door one, perhaps.
That's the one that I've heard that's getting around. So
it might be something on the way. So that would suit you well, I think.
It would, yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of Camaros and LS engines laying around in sheds as well too these days.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah. All sorts of things. Well, look, good luck with all of that. Both improved production. Hopefully, we do see you back in the sports sedans as well, because they're they're really the last bastions of any creativity in Australia Motorsport. So many one-make series, I mean, and they're great, they serve their purpose, but to have a bit of variety is, as I say, it is the spice of life, and we certainly like it spicy. And for now, good luck with the rest of the year in improved production, and hopefully you're behind the wheel of a sports sedan again soon. But for now, Danny Timewell, thanks for joining us in Pit Lane.
No, thanks very much for having me, and just a big shout out to our sponsors too, Prestige Hino, AA Diesel Truck Bodies, we've got Vic Cranes on board as well, Pico Refrigerated Logistics, and I don't think I've missed one, hopefully not. So thank you guys, couldn't do it without you.
Yeah, and we'll have the cheque will be in the mail, no doubt, guys, for the plate on Channel 31.
Danny's picked up the tab at the bar tonight.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks, Danny.
No worries.
And thank you for joining us at home. Now, as we said, to take us out tonight, we've got music from Brian Peters and Michael Prizeman, and you can see them all over the place. They're on Spotify and everywhere else that you find good music. But right now, they're going to take us out with a song that I'm going to absolutely maul the pronunciation of this song. It is Tamanui Ratura? Taira. There we are.
Oh, that was deliberate.
That's what she said. Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Peters and Michael Prizeman. Good night.
Shining night, but did she know why it was dawning, down and blue, so blind to the light.
If you're watching at home, we're not going to do the program anymore. Motor racing is just so competitive and violent and nasty, and we just want to spread love.
Can we just bring the drinks in and get some deck chairs and banana lounges, and let's just get these, and we'll just sit around and listen to these guys all night.
That was lovely. Thank you. Now, as I said, they will be back a little bit later on, and I will absolutely massacre the name of the song. Brian, we'll try it from you, so we'll get it direct.
One more time.
What she said.
I was going to say, because she said it laughing, and we can't laugh like that either. So,
So thank you to Mike, to Michael.
And over to Bree. Introduce yourself. Thank you.